In our first story tonight, the CEO of the Ghana Interbank Payments and Settlement System, Gibbs Achihesi, says mobile money merchants and financial technology companies have the chance to innovate in order not to be kicked out of the market. He was responding to some concerns by third-party agents over the possibility of losing their businesses at a press conference here in Accra. He acknowledged the fact that the newly introduced mobile money interoperability system will make the market very competitive and highly modernized, and noted that Gibbs is ready to engage all players to adopt quickly.
The Ghana Interbank Payment System, Gibbs, the sole operator of the mobile money interoperability, says it is open to engage all financial technology companies willing to complement the system with ready-made solutions. Speaking at a press encounter, Chief Executive Officer of Gibbs, Achihesi, said mobile money operators are also bound to be kicked out of their business if they fail to adapt to new changes.
In business, you either renovate or you die. I still see that the mobile money agents will have a role to play. So, for example, if I want electronic funds and I'm in a village and I have cash, what would I do? Interoperability is there. I still have to go to the agent to convert the cash to electronics for me into my wallet. And thereafter, I can be sending. But I will not need the agent when I have electronic funds to actually send to beneficiaries. So at what stage will we have all our funds in the electronic mode where the cash in, as they call it, will dwindle? So I can see that over time, their business will be changing, and they would also need to skew themselves appropriately to continue staying in business.
Meanwhile, Managing Director of Technology and Operations at Gibbs, Kwejo Team, has also been explaining to Joy Business what goes into transacting businesses under the mobile money interoperability system.
A Vodafone subscriber is able to have their wallet on a Vodafone debited and a credit sent, and the funds that so debited sent to a subscriber on the MTN network. Depending on the network that you are or subscriber A is on, you would have a certain process to go through. We shied away from dictating what their menu flows should be, because that is their business. That's how they should be able to differentiate themselves. So you may find that one MNO's interface is a little easier to use than another, depending on how they build it. But essentially, what they allow you to do is for subscriber A to have their wallet debited and the message sent to the recipient's network for the wallet to be credited.
The second part of the mobile interoperability system is expected to take off by July 15th. With this, customers will be able to pull monies from bank accounts to the other mobile money outlets.
Government has indicated it would lock in various agreements with investors as a means of ensuring they fulfill their commitment to the country. According to Deputy Finance Minister Kweku Kwarteng, this would ensure the country is not shortchanged as government gets set to announce more tax incentives for investors in the mid-year budget review. Government says it is considering some tax incentives for investors in the mid-year budget review. The provision of more tax incentives forms part of its quest to make Ghana the topmost investment hub in the sub-region. The move to lock in agreements with investors, according to Deputy Finance Minister Kweku Kwarteng, is to ensure investors deliver on commitments they make after benefiting from these tax reliefs. He spoke at the Economic Councillors Dialogue organized by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center.
We are willing to let go the revenue today so that we can benefit tomorrow. The only bit we will add is that we have also been sensitive to situations in the past where investors have come to say, we will invest so much, we will deliver so much, we will retain so much of our forex earnings here. And then on the back of that assurance, government has provided incentives. and we have not been successful in monitoring to ensure whether our investors have delivered on the commitment they made, so that they could have the exemptions that we granted them. What we're going to do, whilst we seek to even expand the incentives we can place at the disposal of businesses and the business environment, is also now begin to look at locking in of those commitments.
The Economic Councillors Dialogue for Foreign Missions, held quarterly by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, is focused on improving investor experience in Ghana. This quarter's dialogue looked at the incentives regime, business licensing and taxation. Yofi Grant is CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center.
We are really looking at the incentive regime because even internally, it's not just for foreign direct investors, but for local investors. So assume that you are an investor looking at doing some investments that fall in the one district, one factory scope. Do you have any incentives if you are out of what we call location and you are in areas where there's no infrastructure? What incentives do you get to make your business competitive? Because I know that there are quite a number of Ghanaians who also want to set up industries and factories under the one district, one factory. Do they have any advantages if they are in some corner in the country without incentives? Will they be competitive? And the answer is no. And so we need to look at all that.
Foreign direct investments, according to the Ghana Investments Promotion Center, was worth $6.19 billion in 2017. We are turning to other news now. Managing Director of Cal Bank, Frank Edu, says he has built the bank to a level that would ensure that his successor would not struggle much. Frank Edu said this when Cal Bank took his turn at the Ghana Stock Exchange's Facts Behind the Figures session in Accra. Ebenezer Sabote has more in this next report.
Cal Bank has grown to be one of the most competitive indigenous banks in the country with a market value of more than 2 million Ghana cedis. The growth of the bank can be attributed to its involvement in some public investments like the support for Volta River Authority to enable it secure crude for power generation. Commenting on the success of the bank, Frank Edu said he has built a good legacy that will spur more growth in his absence.
Actually, I wanted to retire in December of this year. Which tells you that the bank will survive beyond me. I don't think that anybody should entertain the notion that Frank Edu is Cal Bank and Cal Bank is Frank Edu. No. I hardly do anything at the bank. You know, there are people who do the work. I take the credit. But when there's a problem, they take the blame. That is how it is. You understand me? So I ride on the shoulders of very, very competent people. And what we have at the bank is that we do not create stars.
After giving the approval by the Bank of Ghana to operate its agency banking system, Frank Edu hinted that it will be using that initiative as a tool to enter the retail market in the near future.
So whereas in the past we have predominantly looked at corporate banking, we're using agency banking to find a way of making significant incursions and inroads into the retail sector. It is one of the major pillars of our strategy going forward, because we believe that if we are successful with agency banking, we would have the larger proportion of our risk assets would be retail risk assets. That will come with a diversified retail portfolio and high margins. Beyond that, then you have to look at the digital channels that we are actively pursuing. And we believe that these areas would help us maintain income levels and actually increase them.
The bank's balance sheet for the first quarter of the year indicates that loans and advances to customers increased modestly by 12.8%, as well as deposits due to an aggressive market strategy.
Telecoms now, and Telecom's operator AirtelTigo Ghana has partnered with networking company Ericsson to consolidate and upgrade its infrastructure. The move is to, among other things, improve on the ongoing merger between Airtel and Tigo. The two companies signed the partnership in Accra today. Karen Dodu reports.
The partnership will enable AirtelTigo to unify its network assets between former Tigo and Airtel and provide customers with fast internet experience and voice quality. The agreement with Ericsson includes end-to-end consolidation and managed services for the AirtelTigo service network. AirtelTigo will also expand its coverage to all parts of the country, including rural areas. Chief Executive Officer of AirtelTigo, Roshi Motman, said the partnership with Ericsson will enable its service customers much better.
We are today starting the real consolidation of the networks, which means that in the next few months, we will be able to see stepwise delivery of the expected outcomes of this merger. As we promised to our customers in the beginning of this process, what we are going to deliver is nationwide coverage, faster internet speeds, and superior voice quality. This process of the real consolidation is going to take a few months to achieve. We have chosen a partner that is going to support us in this process. That partner is a world-class player, Ericsson, and we are going to start with that starting today.
Customer unit head for Ericsson South and East Africa, Jonathan Adams, also expressed optimism over the partnership.
Ericsson's role, of course, will be to continue running the network with our managed services. We'll be undertaking a lot of integration activities and helping AirtelTigo with all the design as well. It's a huge opportunity of merging two networks together that gives a scale and an efficiency which enables AirtelTigo to invest in a network, a much better network, which gives a better service to customers and more data speeds, as Roshi mentioned. It's very normal in the industry that we always work with maintenance and upgrades in a way to make sure that we minimize any impact to customers. We do that in many different ways, planning them at very low times in the night, that sort of thing. So that's a very normal process that we're talking about.
The envelope cost for the integration is estimated at $50 million and is expected to complete hopefully in 2019. Reporting for Joy Business, Karen Dood.
Meanwhile, AirtelTigo has debunked rumors of a possible takeover by another company at the end of this merger. There still are speculations that the merged entity, that is AirtelTigo, is likely to be taken over by French telecoms giant Orange after the merging process. However, CEO of AirtelTigo, Roshi Motman, is denying the claims. She says the focus of Airtel now is to provide is to provide better and quality customer services.
And we merged was to have more customers, happier customers, and then obviously for the market it was a very good move because of the fragmentation of the market. So for sure our plans are to increase market share and revenue share in the market. Focus for us is to make sure that we deliver on our promises to our customers and that we go through a very successful integration and consolidation period. For now, there are no discussions about another process, another merger.
All right, you're still watching Business Live. Let's turn to agriculture. The Ministry for Food and Agriculture is assuring it will looking at ways to maintain price stability of maize in the future. This follows recent complaints by the poultry farmers of high cost of maize due to the shortage of the commodity on the market. Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture, George Odro, has been speaking with Joy Business.
Over the past week, there has been growing public concern about whether the current hike in prices of maize on the market is due to a shortage of the commodity or not. Currently, on average, a bag of 100 kg of maize hovers around 170 Ghana cedi per bag in some markets across the country. This is an upward adjustment from the about 150 Ghana cedi per bag earlier. Although admitting there is a hike in price, Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture, George Odro, assures there are plans to ensure price stability in the future.
The main idea about this planting for food and job was to produce enough maize, enough soybeans, so that it will reflect to these poultry farmers. But don't forget, last year is the pilot, like the first year, and this is what you have encountered. Fortunately, the yield, we got what we were expected. So now we have realized the marketing has been the problem, and we have seen where that problem is coming from. So from this year onwards, we are going to solve it. So for the poultry farmers, the maize are there, but the price you just said. And let me tell you, maybe you are not aware of, every second quarter of every year in Ghana, that is March, April, May, June, there is a planting season, especially at the southern sector. So the price of maize goes up every year. Is something that is happening within the country. So this year is not new. In fact, if you check the price between last year and this year, I think it's about 9 cedis or 8 cedis or so as compared to last year and this year, same month. So, like I said, we have realized where the problem is coming from, the pricing. And we did the planting for food and jobs. We have enough maize. We have not done any importation yet, but we have enough maize. That means the project was successful. The only challenge we have realized is the pricing. So we knew where it came from, and we are going to address it from this year and next year onwards.
Joy Business checks, however, show the period between May and June every year records an upward adjustment in prices of maize. For instance, in the year 2015, the price of a bag of maize rose from 120 Ghana cedi a bag in January to 169 Ghana cedi a bag in July, then dropped to 140 Ghana cedi in October after the harvest the same year. Globally, current prices of maize have also increased from $155.84 per ton in January to $175.60 per ton as at April. Francis is the content manager at Agric Service Center Isoko, and he explains this trend.
Normally, when the planting season is about starting, all the maize that are in store normally would be getting finished around that time, and so people will want to sell and then cash in before the new one also comes, because at this time of the year you do not have any new maize coming in. It is the old stock that people have that they are trying to sell, and because of the demand, we should also know that for this year we are having a lot of demand in terms of the household consumption, and then for other purposes apart from household consumption. And so the little that we were able to get from last season, that is what we have been using till now. And so when you look at the prices from 2016, 2017, and then 2018, when you compare the prices so far, you realize that for this year, the prices are really up.
Sheila Tamaklos report for Joy Business.
Meanwhile, about 15,000 youth are expected to be employed by the Agric Ministry to serve as extension officers under the Nation Builders Corps program. The program, launched by the President earlier this month, would provide jobs for 100,000 unemployed graduates every year across the country. Speaking to Joy Business, Deputy Agric Minister George Odro said the plan is to spread the graduates across the country.
10,000 people under the NAPCO. So these are the people we are going to use at the extension services. We are going to distribute them across the country. They are going to be the AEs. They will live within the communities and help the farmers. But you know, under the NAPCO, when you fill the form, you choose based on your background. So those with the agric background are going to be employed under the NAPCO, and then they will be distributed across the country, because we are now going to register 500,000 farmers. That's our target. And I know you achieve that and even exceed.
All right, welcome back to the program. Some news just coming to us. LPG marketers have called a strike against the recirculation model. A press statement just coming into us. I want to read bits of it for you, saying that, as you are aware, the Ghana LPG Operators Association regrettably had to pull out of the cylinder recirculation model policy implementation committee as a result of stiff resistance by the National Petroleum Authority to its opposition to the classification of LPG filling plants in the country into high and low risk facilities following the exit, and after several attempts at getting a hearing with the President of the Republic, who it was understood entered the implementation of the CRM, had failed. The leadership of Gligua was left with no option than to call a press conference to explain the grounds for its opposition to the policy and further urge government to, as a matter of urgency, intervene to stop its implementation. It goes on to give some more background to it, but we have on the line Nanaba Collins, who is the national organizer of the LPG Marketers Association. Tell us more about why they are taking this decision. Good evening to you. It's surprising that you've taken this move. Why?
Good evening, sir. We are taking this step to show our grievances to the general public about how the government is treating us and how our business is on the verge of collapse. So we met the committee on several times. Whenever we met the committee, whatever concerns and issues we raised is not taken. We decided to meet the President on one-on-one, but we try as many as we can. We never meet him. So we decided to pull out from the committee for this reason. That whenever our concern is being raised at the committee, the leadership of the committee or the MTA boss not take us any of our concerns are not being captured in the minute. We decided, okay.
No, you know, it's difficult to understand the position you've taken because you were in the committee that was working to roll this out. There were a few disagreements here and there, and we thought you could have ironed it out. Isn't this a drastic move? And what especially are the reasons for this action?
The reason why we are on this action is that we have not been taken seriously at the committee. Like I said earlier, the MPA boss always seeks to undermine us. Whatever concerns and reasons we suggest, he does not take it. So we came to the conclusion that the policy on itself will collapse our businesses and it will bring hardship to Ghanaians. This is what we have been telling him to consider our concerns, to make sure things are being put in place. But it seems he doesn't take that seriously. That's why we came up on policy.
Okay. We don't have much time to discuss this. I just want to ask you one question, and that has to do with how long this is going to take and what form the strike is going to take. And have you considered the impact, really?
Yes. In fact, we have considered that from next week going, Ghanaians will be stranded from going from one station to another in search of LPG products. Ahead of this strike, we do apologize. It is in their best interest. So they should comply with us. They should hear us that whatever we are doing now is in their best interest.
All right. Nanaba Collins, national organizer of the LPG Marketers Association. That association has called a strike against the LPG circulation model. They have issues with the MPA. They believe they are being undermined. Their concerns are not being listened to. The president is not granting them audience. For the next 1 week, you may not have gas. That's what they're saying essentially. That's it for Business Live. Thanks for watching. There'll be more on this plus Other stories in our subsequent bulletins.